Okay, recording has started. Let's start with our lecture. First of all, I'll go through last lecture. I'll go through it very fast, just to remind you about the main things that we've discussed, and which is very important. Then our lecture today will be a bit short. The material, because the practical session will take most of the time. So in previous lecture we discussed the for loop, and no need to repeat it for the third time. I told you in the for loop you need to initialize the counter, then you need to find the condition, okay? Whenever this condition is true, the execution will continue. If it's false, then it will go out. And of course, this is the code that will be executed in every iteration. Then you need to update the counter. After this, of course, without the update, of course, you will go and enter an infinite loop. So here's the for loop instruction initialization, like I equal 10. Stop criteria. Of course, here stop criteria, sometimes it's the opposite, it's the condition, okay? While I greater than 2, for example, that means whenever this is true, the execution will continue. The update, in this case, if you can see from 10 to 2, that means the update always I minus, for example. Every time we reduce the value of I, we start with 10, 9, 8, and so on. All right, this is an example of the counters. This will count from 1 to 5 with a step of 1, because I plus a plus means I equal I plus 1. All right. These examples we covered last lecture, so we don't have a specific thing here. We talked about the counters, which is very important to differentiate between two types of counters, as we will see in the next slide. And we say you have to identify the initial value, the stop criteria, and the update. Bottom of counter, for example, it starts from smaller initial value and reaches a larger limit with increment. These are the three things. Small value, like from 2, reaches larger limit like 100, and with increment, it means increase. That means if I equal 2, I less than 100, I plus plus, or I plus equal 4, for example. All these are examples, not necessarily to be the only solutions. All right. So the other one is top down. Top down starts from large value. For example, here, if we say I'll start from 100, okay, then I want to reach 4, and the step is minus 2. Okay, then I'll start from I equals 100, I greater than, okay, see here was less than, okay, here is greater than 4, okay, and then I minus equals 2. That means every time I will be reduced by 2. Okay. These are the main ideas of counter, and for sure in the exam you will get a counter as one of the questions. All right, so we took different examples about the counters. Here is a very important part of the counters. Sometimes you know the number of counts, and sometimes you don't know the number of counts. So how to deal with them? If you know the number of counts, like in this example, the average of 10 students, then it will be very easy. I'll just write for integer I equals 0, I less than 10, I plus plus. Then I'll do whatever required from me here. But what if you don't know the number of counts. In this case, you have to use criteria, and usually when you don't know the number of counts, I would recommend you to use while. All right, if you know, use for. If you don't know the number of counts, then use while. All right, let's see this example. Write a program that reads the marks of 6 students and prints the average of the mark. So first, before the loop, you have to declare the sum and you declare the mark. Here from 1 less than or equal 6, or sometimes if you just don't get confused here, you can write it I equals 0, I less than 6. Okay, the same thing, because in both cases it will count 6 times. I don't have I have nothing to do with the value of I, it's just a counter. So enter the mark of the student I, C in M, sum plus equal M. I will read M and then I'll add M to the sum. After I finish reading and finding the sum, I'll divide it by 6 and the average will be AB, sum divided by 6. So it's very forward and easy, and you don't need to worry about the difficulty. It doesn't have that difficulty. But if you don't know the number of students or the number of counts, like in this example, write a program that reads the mark of unknown number of students and print the average of the marks. Here, you need to define stop criteria. Okay, M can be specified, can specify the stop criteria. Why M? Because M is the only variable that's changed. Okay, every time we read the values of M, since the user is entering mark, we can suggest any stop criteria. For example, is the mark is above 100, or if not is, okay, or below 0. But also we said, okay, I can stop when I enter minus 10. But also we say to avoid any kind of mistakenly entered values, I need to specify arbitrary values. So in this case, we decided to use minus 26, which is meaningless. You can use minus 94, for example, minus 123, etc. Okay, 1023, etc. So you can use any arbitrary value. It's up to you, but you have to tell the user that this is the code that if you enter, the program will stop. So see here, as I told you, since we don't know the number of iteration, then I recommend you to use while. While M not equal minus 26. That means the value of M is not equal minus 26. Here we need to define the counter. Okay, why? Because I want to count how many students. I cannot, I don't know the number, but I will enter the marks, then I need to count them. If I enter 5, 6, 10, 100 students, and so on. And also I need to declare the sum and initialize it as 0. Enter mark minus 26 to stop. This is a message to the user. So Cn M, if M not equal minus 26, okay, then sum equals sum plus M. Cnt plus equal 1. This is the counter. I increase the counter by 1. So after I finish the counter and stop execution, I will use the average. So the number of students is counter, the sum is, and the average is this. So I have two kinds of counter, or I can classify the counter as top down, bottom up. This is the first one. Then if you know the number of counts, and if you don't know the number of counts. If you can see, this is the last. This was the last question when a customer deposit an amount of 10,000 real, Omani real, and after 3 years with interest of 3.5%. After 3 years, he will get, and even we tried after 2 years, yeah, okay, after 2 years he will get an amount of I don't know. This is something else. All right. We shouldn't add it. Let me just correct this. I think after 2 years he will get 11 point something. All right. So this was the last lecture of the last week. Last week. Now we will continue with two important things, which are break and continue. Okay. So I'll save it. Okay. Break and continue. From the name, I know you can see only 3 slides, but we will work a lot practically. So from the name, break is used to break a loop and ignore all the rest of the iterations. So if you can see here, I've written while true. Here an example to read and print integers continuously, okay, and stop if the integer or the value is 100, okay. So if you can see here, first I'll declare integer x while true. What's the meaning of while true? It means infinite loop. It means unless you break it, you use this break instruction, it will continue repeating the loop forever. All right, so while true, C out, enter a number, C in x. Now here is the condition. If x is equal to 100, then C out, loop terminated, and break. And of course, every time it will skip everything and will go to the end of the loop. The best way is to execute this. So let's execute it, or let's explain continue before execute this one. Now in continue a little bit different. If x equal 100, see out invalid number, try again, and continue will not go to the end. No, it will skip to the end of the while and repeat again. Again, the difference between the break, when the program sees break, it will go after the loop. It will break the loop. But if it sees continue, it will go to the end of the loop and start over again. So think about these questions now. Write a program that reads the mark of unknown number of students and prints them. The program stops execution when the user enters -15. All right, think about it. Take 1 minute to think about it, and we will write the code. Try to write it on a piece of paper or anything, okay? I'm waiting. I'll give you 1 minute to think about it, or think about the 3 questions. All right. Anybody has an idea? Or waiting for me to solve this question or to answer this question? All right. Now what's required from here? We want to have a loop that reads the marks of the students continuously, and we don't know the number of students, but this will stop when we enter -15. So in this case, let's start writing it. Sure you can see it. Okay, so here integer m as mark. Okay, while true. What's the meaning of while true? It means I have infinite loop. See out. Enter. Mark. All right. And m. Now here, if m equals minus, what was the number? -15 or -15. Then print, see out program terminated. Okay, and ENDL and break. Don't forget to close this. Before executing it, let's execute it. Enter a mark. I'll enter 3. Enter a mark. Stop. We didn't print the value. After this, we can write C out. You have entered N and NGL. All right, so let's try it. Enter the mark 8. You have entered 8, 9, -12. Okay, -15. Program terminated and stopped. Okay, let's see what's happening here. Okay, so first, of course, the first few instructions, you know about them. You don't need to worry about them. Integer main. Here I declared the variable m to read it, while true, this infinite loop. Okay, it means unless I have break instruction, it will go, continue working forever. So see out enter a mark, then I entered here 3, for example. It comes here and check if m equal -15, then the condition is false. It will come here, print the value, and go back to while. It will continue like this. If I enter -15, then if m equal -15, the condition is true. It will print this message and the break. When I say break, it will ignore all the rest of the instructions. It will go directly to the end. Okay, that's why when I entered 15, 15 was not printed, while 3 was printed. If we get back to this, okay, you have entered here 15 and break. Now the second part I'll share it with you first. Okay. The second part is, in the exercise, is write a program that reads a mark of the unknown number of students and print them. The program ignores any invalid marks. What do you mean by invalid marks? Invalid marks means any mark below 0 or above 100, right? So what I'll do here, I'll have the same thing, enter a mark, cn, if the mark M below 0, or remember this, or M greater than 100. Okay, it will not terminate. It will give us a message like invalid mark. Even you can say try again, and here I'll change it to continue. All right, let's execute and I'll explain to you. So if I enter, for example, 9, 0, 100, but if I enter -3, see, I got invalid mark, try again, and it's asking for another mark. So if I enter 110, the same thing, invalid mark, enter another mark. So here, if I put break here instead of continue, it will break everything and will not ask about another mark. All right, so here, if let's also explain it like this. Okay. You can see here, while true again the same loop and see enter a mark if M less than 0 or M here or, because either this case or this case happens, then it should write invalid marks, try again, and continue. Continue will come here and go again and ask you for another thing. In break, if you remember, in break, we used to go here, while continue will come here and ask for another number. So I'll share this with you. Not from here, sorry. Okay, this is the second one. Last one is using the code written in 1 and 2, write a program that reads the marks of a number of students and prints them. The program ignores any invalid marks and stops execution when the user enters -15. So I want to merge them together. What I'll do here, so it'll be the same code almost. Okay. All right, so here I have, if the mark is invalid, then this will happen. But if M equals -15, then I'll write cout up execution. All right, and that's it. And break, of course. Okay, let's execute it and see. Enter mark 23. All right, nothing wrong. 110. Invalid mark, try again. -20. Invalid mark, try again. 34, accepted. -15. See, here we have an issue. Why? Because when it found the continue here, it came and continued. It ignored everything else, including this break. So to solve this, I'll just move the break before the continue. Right? So let's run it again. 10 -11, invalid. 110, invalid, and -15 should stop execution. All right. So also I'll share this with you. I want you to study them carefully. These three questions. I was planning to give them to you as homework, but since we solved them, then please just study them and get ready for the practical assignment. I'll share it with you now. Just let me share this presentation with you first. All right, so all right. Okay. It's uploaded now. You have it. Now the assignment. Please prepare yourself. Get ready to answer the assignment that I'm sharing with you. I'll share with you, and you have to submit it. I'll give you some more time before 2:30. And please, as I'm telling you, no need till 2:30. Yeah, 2:20 or 2:30. Let me 2:30. Yes, 2:30. Okay. So I'll give it to you. The assignment is practical. Write a program that counts the sequence, this sequence, and you need to write it using the editor. After you write it using the editor, take screenshot to the program and take screenshot to the result that you will get. So now you have the assignment. Start, please. I'll stop recording and stop sharing screen. Just in case, if you need anything, please, you can ask me.